I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
When you gonna give that apology? When you gonna give that apology?
Never. There you go. Does that make you happy? I still think the same exact thing. I don't know why everyone's in the comments being like, oh, why you change your story again? You changed your story. No, it's still the same story. I still think it's bullshit.
And now, a clear demonstration of Ryan Upchurch never changing his story.
Before we start this video, I want to say that I'm sending my prayers and love to Kiely's mom and Kiely's family and Kiely's friends. I would also like to say this to the YouTube community that has covered this little girl. It's sickening how some of y'all act and the stuff y'all say. For what? For followers? For donations? Dragging this stuff out? Making crazy claims? Kiely Rodni is not real. Her grandfather is not real. Her dad is not real. Her mom is not real. This is how you know Ronnie Jones and this fucking Milo dude are the same person. Once again, they're the same person.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Give me 1 second. I'm going downstairs so I can talk privately.
I live in Roseville, and I live in a 2-story house.
So, I had 2 cousins. They go to Sierra College, and that's in Roseville.
I just checked, and my phone pinged in Roseville.
Okay, well, I'm saying that Ronnie's a white guy, and you are on live telling everybody, hey, this is the real Ronnie, the real black guy Ronnie, while his white legs are in the video, dumbass. Ictamel, I can see why your ass was freaking out so much. Oh man, Upchurch is on drugs, man. He ain't figuring out shit. Yeah, I know why now. Krieg Squad done figured your ass out, son. Look at this, y'all. Oh my gosh, you guys. Who is that guy? Oh no, Ictamel. Ictamel. You're Ronnie Jones? Oh my God, bruh. No wonder you want me to fucking get away from the camera, you fucking weirdo. Ictamel, thank you for letting me on your show earlier. I do like you. You're a pretty nice guy. I can still be your rowdy friend. Oh, Ictamel, what up, bitch? But ever since I seen Kiely Rodni's mom crying on the news, I have laid down in bed every night thinking about this mom going to bed, crying, wondering where her daughter is. And it seems some people think this is a big fucking joke. There ain't no Kiely Rodni. It's bullshit. It's fake. If you switch around the letters to the name Kiely Rodni, the way they spell it, it comes out as I killed Ronnie. They designed this shit to make motherfuckers look crazy. He's crazy. He's crazy. But I'm always right. So fuck you.
Hello, I'm Rick, and this is Burn After Reading. Oh, and a particular howdy-do to you too, Ryan, because I know you're watching. I am hoping this is going to be my last video about Ryan Upchurch. Clearly, he's going to continue being a juvenile as long as his glad-handed, ass-kissing followers egg him on. I can see this going on and on until Ryan finds the next thing to obsess over. So I don't want to keep going on about this with him because, you know, it can go on for quite some time, and there are other things I would rather cover. So unless something very significant happens, I'm done making videos about this clown. But make no mistake about it, I will follow the ongoing developments, and I will continue to support those who call out Upchurch and his goons. You know, as you watched at the top of the video, Ryan is never going to apologize. At least not unless it hits his bottom line. So even if he did, you know, what's it really worth? Nothing. It's worth absolutely nothing. Forced apologies to protect oneself is meaningless. Honestly, even if he did have an epiphany, that's a day late and $1 short, don't you think? I don't believe Ryan to be redeemable. I really don't. It's why he needs to be deplatformed and banned on YouTube. He can't take back all those unforgivable things that he has said and done. But he can pay for those mistakes. That's why it's imperative that YouTube, owned by Google, bans him. Now, I'm getting a lot of Creek Squad constitutionalists squawking about freedom of speech and the First Amendment. You know what's really sad is how patriotic they are about that subject, yet don't know shit about it. So allow me to enlighten you so that you may know what your heavily valued freedom of speech is and what it both does and doesn't do for you. Let's get on with it. Okay, you primitive screwheads, listen up, because you might learn something. Carnegie Library actually helps simplify this topic. I'll read a little bit from the website. The First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution protects what are commonly known as the 5 freedoms: freedom of religion, freedom of press, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and freedom of petition. The amendment is part of 10 amendments to the Constitution known as the Bill of Rights, which was adopted in 1791. The First Amendment reads, Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peacefully to assemble, and to the petition the government for redress of grievances. This amendment gives Americans the right to express themselves verbally and through publication without government interference. It also prevents the government from establishing a state religion and from favoring one religion over others. And finally, it protects Americans' rights to gather in groups for social, economic, political, or religious purposes, sign petitions, and even file a lawsuit against the government. Freedom of the press and freedom of speech are closely related and are often the subject of court cases and popular news. Understanding how and when these rights are protected by the First Amendment can help us better understand current events and court decisions. While the First Amendment acknowledges and protects these rights, there are, gasp, limitations to how the amendment can be invoked. For instance, people are free to express themselves through publication. However, false or defamatory statements, called libel, are not protected under the First Amendment. The First Amendment also specifically refers to the interference of government in these rights. This ensures that Americans are free to critique the government, but it does not give Americans blanket immunity to say whatever they want, whenever they want, without consequences. The First Amendment only protects your speech from government censorship. It applies to federal, state, and local government actors. This is a broad category that includes not only lawmakers and elected officials, but also public schools and universities, courts, and police officers. It does not include private citizens, businesses, and organizations. That means that a private school can suspend students for criticizing a school policy. A private business can fire an employee for expressing political views on the job, and a private media company can refuse to publish or broadcast opinions it disagrees with. Censorship by the government is unconstitutional. When the government engages in censorship, it goes against the First Amendment rights discussed above. However, there are still examples of government censorship in our history, and the Supreme Court is often called upon to ensure the First Amendment rights are being protected. Private individuals and groups still often engage in censorship as long as government entities are not involved. This type of censorship technically presents no First Amendment implications. Now here's where we get into free speech on social media. The widespread use of the internet, and particularly social media platforms, has presented new challenges in defining what type of speech is protected by the First Amendment. Social media platforms are private companies, and we learned above that private companies are legally able to establish regulations and guidelines within their communities, including censorship of content or banning of members! And that is my argument. So, see, you little parrots out there that are saying, First Amendment and freedom of speech, it does not apply to this situation with Ryan Upchurch. Why? Well, he's on a social media platform, YouTube, where he live streams and makes these videos, and he's actually violating the community's guidelines that they set. And that's going to be our next topic. Here we are. YouTube has community standards that covers harassment and cyberbullying. So that means Ryan Upchurch doesn't have carte blanche to do whatever he wants because of the First Amendment and freedom of speech? Interesting. Let's see what it covers. Now, clearly there are things that Ryan Upchurch is not guilty of or in violation of with this. So let's just look at what actually matters here. Content that features prolonged name calling or malicious insults such as racial slurs based on someone's intrinsic attributes. These attributes include their protected group status, physical attributes, or their status as a survivor of sexual assault, non-consensual intimate imagery distribution, domestic abuse, child abuse, and more. Now, we know the last half of that does not apply to Ryan, such as status of a survival of sexual assault, non-consensual intimate imagery distribution, domestic violence, etc. But the first half, yes. Let's see. How many times has Ryan repeatedly called Zanime herpy lip, badass? He's even referred to Ictmail in a derogatory way, referring to someone's sexual orientation. Begins with the letter F and ends with the letter T. So we know he does that. Let's see. Examples. Here are some examples of content that's not allowed on YouTube. Repeatedly showing pictures of someone, then making statements like, look at this creature's teeth, they're so disgusting. With similar commentary targeting intrinsic attributes throughout the video. Again, he makes fun of people's physical appearance. Now, he might try to do that under the guise of comedy, but we know he's meaning absolutely everything that he's saying. Otherwise, he wouldn't be saying it. These are personal issues with him. Let's see. Targeting an individual based on their membership in a protected group, such as by saying, look at this filthy slur targeted towards a protected group, which, again, he used a derogatory remark towards Ictmail by, like I said, using a statement that goes against someone's homosexuality. Now, he never wished that they get hit by a truck, as far as I know, so that doesn't apply. Let's see. Targeting an individual and making claims they are involved in a human trafficking in context of a harmful conspiracy theory where the conspiracy is linked direct threats or violent acts. So do we remember when Ryan Upchurch tried to link Zanime and Ictmail, and I think Ronnie too, if I'm not mistaken, to child human trafficking? Because I recall that. And I also recall that these people are getting threats. So there's that too. So, what happens if content violates this policy? If your content violates this policy, we'll remove the content and send you an email to let you know. If this is your first time violating our community guidelines, you'll likely get a warning with no penalty to your channel. If it's not, we may issue a strike against your channel. If you get 3 strikes within 90 days, your channel will be terminated. You can learn more about our strike system here. And there's a link. And I'll provide, by the way, the link below so that you can read the community guidelines as well. It goes on to say, we may terminate your channel or account for repeated violations of the community guidelines or terms of service. We may also terminate your channel or account after a single case of severe abuse or when the channel is dedicated to a policy violation. You can learn more about channel or account terminations here. And again, it provides a link. So here we are. Even if you don't agree with every single thing that I just said, there's a lot that does apply here to Ryan. And since this has been an ongoing thing, and I believe that there has been a severe case of abuse, his channel should be banned. This is not a First Amendment issue. You were stupid to ever think that it was. If it was, Twitter would not be able to ban Donald Trump, whether you love Trump or whether you hate Trump. They wouldn't have been able to do it. Yet they had the ability because they are a private company, and if you do something that violates that, heck, you don't even have to violate it. They can simply just remove it because they don't like it. Now, as far as why they haven't removed Ryan Upchurch, I can't say. I could speculate. I can maybe speculate it has something to do with the fact that he is a popular content creator. And if the only way they're going to remove him is if something extraordinary happens, such as what happened with Donald Trump and what happened at the Capitol, then I think that's incredibly sad. But again, that's speculating. I don't want to speculate. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So in conclusion, I hope I helped educate the misinformed Creek squatters on freedom of speech, and that it protects us from government persecution versus censorship in the private sector. I hope I educated them that YouTube, along with other social media platforms, have rules against cyberbullying, harassment, and misinformation. Now, I'm realistic, and I think it's safe to assume that most of them, this will go over their heads because their loyalty and love for Upchurch outweighs truth and logic. Still, the information needed to be put out there because it's been a repeated theme, and I don't mind proving them wrong, even if they can't own up to it. I've also received challenges to fights. Can you believe that? Over what I'm saying, people want to challenge me to a fight. Someone challenged me to a boxing match, And I've also been called a coward because I haven't shown my face in these videos, as if that changes the content of what I'm arguing. Think about that. They can't win an argument, so let's fight like cavemen. Ooga booga. And make indirect arguments because that's all they have. Even Ryan Upchurch challenged the Glairer on a recent live stream panel because all Ryan had was insults, and the only thing he had left was a challenge. Ryan, ease up there, Napoleon. I think you're 5'8" with boots on, and you want to come across as some badass who is going to kick some ass and take some names? I don't think so. I don't think anyone's impressed by that. It's posturing, and quite frankly, it's embarrassing. And quite frankly, I am embarrassed for you. And as far as telling people like Zanime, Ictmail, and Ronnie to go ahead and sue if you're defaming them, cut the shit. We both know what game you're playing. We both know how hard it is to win a defamation case. There's a lot that goes into it. A lot of experts have to go in. They have to testify on your behalf about the psychological and emotional harm that they've suffered because of someone like you. And unless a lawyer is working on a contingency basis, it can also be quite costly. And you know that. And you can outspend them. And that's why you're not worried. That's why you're saying what you're saying. It's not some high moral ground. It's just because you have more cheddar. So you can knock that off. But I'm still hoping for a miracle. Be it Kiely Rodni's family, whether it's Zanime, Ictmail, Ronnie Jones, and whoever else. I hope you get what's coming to you, and what I mean by that is that I hope you do get sued, and I hope it's significant. Because everything you've done, all the psychological crap, and I'll be honest, I don't know if it's because you're on drugs. I don't know if it's because you're mentally ill. I don't know if it's because you're a troll. I don't know. And honestly, I don't care. Because right is right and wrong is wrong. And you, Upchurch, you're wrong. And like we said, or as it was shown at the top, you're never going to apologize. And now I don't think you will. Doesn't mean I hope you don't pay. In the legal sense of the word. Until next time.